Let's get straight down to how I got my first brand deal as a music producer. Now this video isn't meant to be bragging at all about how I got my first brand deal. The purpose is to try and show you producers or just people interested how you can put yourself in the same position and do the right things to then potentially get your first brand deal. Now this started back at the beginning of September where I started doing music full time to try and make it a career. So with that I started posting content every single day. I really was and still am just experimenting with the kind of content that I was posting, but I made sure that I was posting every single day apart from Sundays. The kind of content I was posting was pretty random. There were videos on me showing the different layers in some of my beats. There were some more informational videos. Some videos weren't even related at all to my own music. There are a few videos I did titled "What if pop songs had producer tags?" Anyway, because I was posting all this content consistently, it led to a brand reaching out to me on October the 27th. So bear in mind, that's less than 2 months since I started posting content consistently. What's also hugely important to bear in mind is that none of the content that I posted between when I started at the beginning of September up until the brand reaching out to me at the end of October, none of it went viral. Which is so important because it shows you, as producers, we don't have to go viral for opportunities to arise. I feel it can be so draining to try and constantly chase virality. And of course, we've got to be smart and do things which are going to help us grow and help our brand and music grow. But you don't have to be constantly putting pressure on yourself to constantly go viral and just make videos which get really good views, because that's not the only way you're going to progress. I've said this before in other videos, but slow, steady, consistent progress is so undervalued in today's day and age. Now at this point of the brand reaching out to me, I was still pretty skeptical. By no means was I thinking this was a done, sealed thing and that I had a brand deal. I've had so many people and scams send me emails and DMs which end up not materializing, or they end up just trying to scam me. So I was pretty skeptical. But we then exchanged emails. They gave me an idea of the kind of content they wanted me to help them produce, and we negotiated the fee. What I found really interesting about the kind of content they wanted me to produce was that although it was related to audio and sound, it wasn't actually related to music specifically. Some of you may hear that and think, oh, that's a bad thing because it means it's not really related to my brand and my music. That means that I can't promote my own stuff. But I actually saw it as something really good because clearly they've seen my content, thought he'd be really good for what we want to do, although it's slightly different. Let's go and see if he wants to do it. And that's a lesson in itself. Just start posting content. You really don't know the kind of opportunities which can arise just from posting consistent producer related content. Maybe the scope of brands that you thought you could work with is actually a lot wider than you think, because I certainly wasn't expecting this brand to reach out to me. So there was a long time between them reaching out with the first DM and getting the go ahead to film everything. I believe it was about 2 months between their first DM and me actually signing the contract. So it definitely took a while, and then it took a bit longer to get the go ahead to actually film everything after the discussions and calls. And this is the kind of thing I've realized you've got to be prepared for when working with brands. There's a lot of people and processes they have to go through to get things cleared and checked. So be patient with it. As much as you'll want to rush the process along, which I definitely felt at points that I wanted to do things quicker, it's important to stay patient and work within the brand's needs, because ultimately they're the ones paying you. Something also worth saying is that after I went out and about filming, came back home, sent off all the footage, I felt quite insecure in whether it was good enough and quite conscious of the quality of it. Sure enough, they came back with no notes or things to change. So that was great. And I think no matter how well I filmed it, I would have felt a bit insecure in sending it off, especially because it was my first brand deal. I think it's pretty normal to feel conscious of whether it's going to be really good, because you want it to be as good as it can be working with your first brand. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. I think it's normal if you feel that kind of way. So be confident in yourself and the content that you're delivering. I'm aware that watching this kind of video where someone talks about how they got a brand deal, it can seem quite far off and unrealistic, but honestly that is exactly what I thought when I saw other producers and people talk about getting this kind of thing. But an example of a producer who's absolutely killing it and made a whole career off of brand deals is Sides. I think that's how you say her name. She's literally created a whole career off it and is absolutely killing it, and it's so good to see. And I know it can feel unrealistic, I totally get it, but it is not out of reach for any producer at all. The key to it, I think, is to post consistently. Obviously, keep the content clean and think while you're watching it, if I was a brand watching this, would I want to employ myself to make that sort of content for brands? And see what opportunities arise. This isn't going to be a thing where a brand reaches out to you every 2 weeks from the start. If you do get some brand deals, first of all, well done, because to get even more than one is amazing. But they're going to be sporadic and when you get them. Some of them may not even materialize, but what I thought when that brand reached out to me is, wow, that's a real positive and encouragement that they've even seen me and my content and thought, let's approach him to see if he wants to do it. So if a brand even reaches out to you, even if it doesn't end up happening, that's a huge encouragement. And that's definitely something to be proud of. So there we go, that's how I got my first brand deal. Key things: post content consistently, experiment with formats, and you don't necessarily need to search for viral videos, and be patient and accommodating with the brand. Thanks for watching. Click the link below to download my new guitar loop kit to collab with me. I'll see you in the next video.